large deals, B2B sales team will invariably have to face C-level executives who need to approve such contracts. In this age of digital transformation and tough competition, B2B sales team face significant pressure as they try to access, interact, and convince these executives to invest in their various solutions and services. So who better to help them succeed than a former CFO and COO at large companies such as Charles Schwab, McGraw-Hill, and Standard & Poor's, where he chaired the Capital Committee responsible for making these strategic investment decisions. Jacques Sciammas is the president of Selling to Executives, a firm he created 9 years ago to help B2B sales team better understand the executive buyer's perspective in order to access, interact, and win deals with C-level executives. He is with us today. Hi, Jacques. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Eleanor. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. So, first of all, tell us, how did you get the idea of creating almost a decade ago Selling to Executives?
It actually came by chance. I used to be with large companies, as you mentioned, and I used to chair the Capital Committee. This is the committee that actually receives salespeople who propose solutions to them. So it's senior management that listen to their solutions and their services, and we decide, should we go with them? Should we go with their competitors? Should we do something internally if we could, or nothing at all? That's always a choice. And one of my clients said to me, Jacques, I know your background as chairing that committee. We have one of our sales team that's going to present to one of their clients in the next couple of weeks. Do you mind listening into them? I said, why not? So we started the Selling to Executives.
So there are already a number of training workshops. How do you differentiate yours from your competitors today?
Well, our key differentiation is that all our executive trainers are past executives who have made the buying decision. So they are the other side of the table. They basically were the people who decided whether to invest and who to invest with, which vendor to select. So think of most of the training sessions, it's how to sell. In our case, it's how we executives buy. It's very complementary.
Let's talk about your solutions. What do you offer specifically? What can we see during these workshops?
Well, the workshop is really very practical. So if you think of a workshop, what we do is we prepare the salespeople to access the executives, because quite often they don't reach high enough or across the organization. We help them, when they do have the meeting with us, how do they behave? What do they say? What's the message? What is important to us? How to know what is critical for us so that we listen to them. I must have seen, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 salespeople, and most of the time, unfortunately, they're not well prepared. So it's a matter of how they get prepared and relevant and convincing later.
And how long do the workshops last, and how many people can participate?
Yeah. Everything is customized to the needs of the client, of course. So most workshops are 2 days, and the 2-day workshop is set up so that the first day is best practices. So how do we know what's important to the executives? What is the strategy? What are the goals? What are the KPIs, the key performance indicators? How are they measured? And basically how to map whatever you're proposing to my needs, to our needs, and how to make both the operational and financial argument and differentiate yourself from the competitors who may say the same thing. And after that, the second day is, okay, now you know the tools, now show me. So let's apply it to the real accounts. So we work on real accounts and real solutions, and the idea is to advance the deals during the workshop, because quite often people leave a training session and they don't do anything with it, they forget. This way we give them enough for them to want to build on it.
And do you also work on understanding the CXO emotional side as well? Because, as I said during the introduction, sometimes B2B sales team feel pressure, stress in front of C-level executives. How do you do?
You mean we don't have any stress or pressure?
Yes, you do.
No, we definitely work on the emotional side as well, because even we, amongst ourselves executives, we don't always agree. So you need to know our psyche, you need to know our politics a little bit. You need to know what drives us, you need to speak our language. You need to know how to get us on your side. And you want friends around the table when the decision is made. And you definitely don't want enemies, because sometimes one enemy is too much and you never have enough friends, because the decision today is made by a lot more people. It's more collaborative. Mm-hmm. You have the chief digital officer, the chief data officer, the chief innovation officer, a lot of functions that didn't exist before. So you need to get a lot of people on your side in order to advance the deal and hopefully win the deals.
Mm-hmm. What kind of companies do you work with? Is it international groups, small or medium companies?
We work with a range of companies. A lot of them, fair enough, are in the technology world, in the technology side. But usually it's the large companies that have B2B sales teams. And because those are the people who need to access, these are the big dollar, euro, pound accounts, and they need to access the senior executives, because these are the executives that are going to make the decision in terms of should we go ahead or not go ahead. So our client list is broad, but a lot of technology, but all B2B we worked with. As you can see, the list, quite a few, and the best thing is that they're repeat customers.
Mm-hmm. We can be surprised at these prestigious references, as we can see on the picture, such as Microsoft, Nespresso, or American Express. They may need advices to engage with the client. How come does this happen?
Yeah. They're large companies, and they're excellent companies, and they have great resources, but they can't clone all the executives in the company yet. So what they basically try to do is they try to see what type of training would help them the most. And they need senior executives who've made the buying decisions to really be in front of these salespeople, to really coach them and be practical in terms of what they do. And that's where we come in.
And at the end of the workshops, what are the sales team feedback that you had?
Hopefully it's excellent. No, it is excellent. I'm just kidding. There are a lot of ways to measure feedback. You know, whether they liked the workshop, whether they like the instructor, executive, whether they're applying it. So there are a lot of benchmarks and milestones you can measure. But the real measure to me, all these are good, but the real measure to me is, do they win deals? Do they get to the senior executives? Do they get bigger deals? And we have very good returns on those. Otherwise, the companies would not ask us to come back and back and back. We've been around 10 years, and our company is made up of mostly CXOs, and we really leverage off of them to help those sales team as well.
To get to know more about your company, can you give us a little insight into your work? For example, what mistakes should be avoided when you face a decision maker?
The biggest issue with salespeople is that they're not well prepared when they meet with us. First, they have a tough time accessing us, which we help them with. But then when they do get in front of us, they really have a tough time having a relevant conversation and get us interested.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things on our mind, a lot of pressure, and we really want to get to the point in terms of, are you here to help us or not? If you look at some statistics, recent statistics of a year ago, when you ask the CXOs, what % of the meeting with salespeople are valuable? Less than 10%. 90% say the meetings were a waste of time. If you ask the salespeople, the key account managers, they'll say 90% were valuable. So there's a big disconnect and a big gap. And the biggest thing is the lack of preparation and relevancy. And it's not that they're not smart and work hard and apply, but they're not having the right conversation with us. So they're not researching and studying and preparing what's important to us, the executives. It's different than, lower management and middle management.
The workshops that you organize, are they only in France, or is it abroad?
No, we do it in several languages, but the predominant language is English. We also do it obviously in French. We have one of the executives who does it in Mandarin. He's fluent Mandarin. So we have a range of languages, but I'd say English is the predominant one. We've done workshops all over the globe, and in general it's several teams from several countries, even though we've done regionals. So we adapt to the needs of the client and the local language.
So my last question, Jacques, is very simple. If a company is interested, how can they contact you?
I believe our contact information is on the screen. They can call me directly. That's my direct number. Or they can, and I'll gladly have them speak to some of our references. And we always like to do a pilot so they see what the impact is before we have them commit to anything else. So that's pretty much how the process works.
Well, thanks a lot, Jacques Sciammas, for being with us this morning. You come back anytime. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you very much, Ella. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.